Hey everybody. So it's been quite a bit of time since I've put out a video. I think the last one I put out was, I want to say a Monster Hunter. It was either Monster Hunter or Master Duel, but that's because all my time has been taken up by Palworld. And this is just gonna be a thoughts and impressions video from somebody who plays a lot of Ark, and like that's the most similar like game. I know people compare it with Pokemon, and that's really more creature design than it is with the like gameplay loop or mechanics. I've also seen a terrible comparison that this game is like Monster Hunter, which I just don't agree with in the slightest. So you're just gonna see me in the background doing arbitrary tasks and talking about like my thoughts and impressions of the early access game that is Palworld. So first off, this game has a lot of potential. I'll tell you that much. This game, if they support it correctly and it gets the updates and quality of life things it needs so desperately, this game could consider being one of the better like survival-esque type games. Because I know that category is not all that broad. I think the main ones that come to mind when people think of survival type games are Minecraft, Ark, I think 7 Days to Die is survival, and then Valheim, I believe, is another one. But I've always been an Ark fan just because I love dinosaurs and like creatures and stuff like this, so any game that includes like creatures or like mythical fantasy things or like completely made up things like these, all these creatures out like this, I'm down for. The first thing I need to say though is there's a lot of things in Palworld currently, because it's early access, that just make it a constant reminder that it is early access. I wish I had footage of it, but the other day I was going through a dungeon with some people and there was literally a hole in the floor. Like, somebody just didn't fill in the hole in the floor, and I fell through it, and I made it to the out of bounds area. And I had to use admin commands and some tech difficulties to get back into the dungeon. But like stuff like that, like that shouldn't happen. Like I get it's early access, and that's a lot of people's excuses for like, oh yeah, this game will get better. It's early access, yeah, but the early access example is a lot like if somebody was gonna open an amusement park, built the gate for the amusement park, like the borders, had nothing in the amusement park, and then charged people to go and to visit the amusement park. And then when the people came in, they were like, what the fuck, there's nothing here. And then they say, well, it's early access, so you'll be able to see stuff we're gonna do, but you won't be able to do the stuff that we have available yet. And that's kind of the sentiment I feel about Palworld in the current state. Don't get me wrong, this game does do some things correct and like better than other games, but I think other games do things better than this game at the current state. After it gets updated and stuff, sure, I can revisit this and talk about the different changes they made and what happened with like the updates. But as it stands now, also, quick note, I'm gonna be comparing this game a lot to Ark, just because I think that's the most one-to-one comparison, because I've never actually played Minecraft, and I've never actually played 7 Days to Die or Valheim or any of those other games. I've only ever played Ark. So, in Ark, I think, and let's be honest, Ark has never not been early access. If you played Ark way back in the day, you knew that game was early access, and then they had to re-release the early access game because they took too long to actually make a game that wasn't early access, so that's why ASA came out. But anyway, Arc does well in like the building aspect because every time I've seen like YouTubers or just tutorials on how to build stuff in Arc, it's always this extravagant like multi-tower cathedral or like mansion or something. And in this game, like the building is okay, like you can do a lot of stuff with it, but there's just a lot of things that feel like, why isn't this implemented? One of the things is like these roofs, and there's not many different walls, and what they need is honestly somebody like the S plus guy from Arc. They need an S plus guy for this game to implement a lot more like foundation, maybe not foundation, but like a lot more building options. Because if this is gonna be like a survival sim or whatever these type of games are called, then they're gonna need a lot more to bring people in. The second thing is, well, this isn't necessarily in relation to the building aspect, but just another initial thought. The creatures, like, yes, there are quite a few. There's, I think I have them all. There's 137, as far as I know. But some of these don't show up. Like, for example, the other day I had this happen where is it? It's Brown Cherry. This one. So I caught this one, and then I found this one, and I caught it, and this only appeared after I caught it. I don't know if that's an inconsistency thing, because I'm fairly certain. Because like with this, it happens again, right? Like there's B, and then there's B here again, and then there's B here again. I'm fairly certain the B's showed up prior. It's either that or I don't remember them not being there. And I kind of don't like that. I'd rather just be like a Pokedex where like every entry is like there, so I know what to go for. Because like I kind of want to be a completionist when it comes to filling out the Paldeck, which, as you can see, I've pretty much done every single one of these. As far as I know, there might be some other breeding ones I'm missing, but the next thing I will talk about is the technology points, which are basically your engrams if you played Arc. These, I feel like, kind of fell off towards the end, because when I got to 50, I felt like I got less points for hitting 50 than I did for hitting 47. Or like even 42. And it's like, all of this stuff down here is super expensive. So like, I don't know why I'm getting less points the further up I get in level than I am when I'm progressing from like 1 to 2. I feel like it should be the opposite. I feel like I should get not as many from 1 to 2, and then I should be progressively getting more as I get down the line of levels. I had to farm a lot of these technical manuals, I think is what they're called, that give you technology points. And like, that's fine, but I just think it should have slightly more gain for, I don't know the correct term, but like slightly more tech point gain per level. I was gonna say linear, but I don't know if that's the correct term, but like, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then another thing I think that this game does okay, but it's not like amazing, is, I'll show you right here the elements. So right now, fire is the best element. You may be asking why. Because fire is the only element that counters 2 different things. So fire is strong against ice and grass. But like, you could use multiple things to do, like I'm pretty sure electric would be strong against ice, because electric can mount the ice with like the voltage, and then like use the residual water to like, you know, charge off of it or whatever. And, like, I don't think it should be as linear of a weakness thing. I think it should be more like Pokemon or like the Digimon Cyber Sleuth game, where like it was more like a web. So it could have like, oh, fire is good again. Like, they should have all been in one giant, not pentagon, because that's not. It's whatever 9 is. I don't know what the septuple. I don't know what the shape is for 9 sides. Because like right now, neutral is kind of ass. Neutral doesn't do anything. Neutral doesn't counter anything. So like, if you're using something neutral, you're never gonna have, like, unless neutral attacks are like just stronger than most other attacks, I don't see a point in using something that's neutral. Which, if you put all these in a 9-sided web and then had them like counter each other, like, ground can beat fire too. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, you can't light a rock on fire. I mean, you could, but it's not gonna do anything. And like, you can freeze the grass, and like, it's just stuff like that. It's like, some of the stuff should be weak to other things, and I don't like how specific it is, because like a lot of my teams early on, I had a lot of like fire things. Also, holy shit, I'm on the last page of this box. But a lot of stuff early on I had. Let me see. So I had a lot of stuff, like I had Blazemon. I had, well, not early on, but I had Yormantide Ignis early on, because that was something I picked up. I had a Suzaku early on, because that's something I picked up. I had one of these guys, which is early, that I picked up, and it's like, all of these things were just fire. Like, my whole team, like, I got one of these early on. So it's like, a lot of these things were just like fire. And I don't know what the distribution is of like pals in each category. Like, I don't know how many pals or how many ice pals they have versus how many fire pals they have, and versus how many electric pals. I feel like electric pals are the least amount, because I think the only good electric pal is Orzork. But yeah, I think that's a weakness of this game. I think they could expand on the elemental stuff. I think the building and stuff, like the assembling lines, is a nice touch. I liked that. I like the passive stuff, like this. I don't know what this is called. The electrical outlet. No, it's not an electrical outlet. It's a the fuck is this called? The pylon, I thought it was a nice touch. The snowman that keeps stuff cooler, and then like all these things, like the stumping axe that improves wood cutting, and then like this improves mining. I thought that was a nice touch. That was great. I like how the pals can, you know, be self-reliant, like they don't need you to babysit them for the most part. There are little wonky features where like you'll throw, like, if I pick this guy up and throw him at the fridge, it would be like bugging, because this is here, it might think I'm throwing it to here, even though I'm standing here and throwing it directly in front of the fridge. It's just like, if this game was a little more refined, it would be so much better. And yeah, you can say, oh yeah, early access, but like, that shouldn't be an excuse. Like, if you're gonna release something early access, like, don't half-ass it, I feel. It's just like basic things too. Like earlier when I mentioned, I literally fell through a hole in a dungeon. Like, there was literally just a gap in the floor. Like, there's no rock, and I was just like, how did this pass through? And like, you can sit there and go, oh, early access, but it's like, yeah, but that shouldn't have made it through to the release of early access. To me, early access means like the foundation is solid, and then they add more quality of life features later. It doesn't mean like, oh, here's a half main, maybe 3/4, fourth main game. We'll give you the rest later. That sounds like what a lot of AAA titles do now, where like they release a game and then day one there's like a 50 gig patch or whatever. And even AAA games aren't the greatest, because I played Spider-Man and I had so many bugs in that game, or Spider-Man 2, which I was very disappointed by, because they did such a good job in the first game where like it ran smooth, it didn't really do anything that like required me to wait for patches or anything, and it was just not as good of an experience. But yeah, I think they need to add more like structures. I don't know if that's where like the walls, and they should have slanted walls, they should have glass wall. Like they should have pretty much a lot of stuff that like Ark has, where it has a wide variety. Like if you want to build all metal, you can in Ark. If you want to build in all glass, you can in Ark. Well, not ASA, but in ASE you could. If you want to build in Adobe, you can do that. And then the other thing is, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things that aren't, like, super clear. Because, like, so base upgrades, I'm on the max base upgrade. That didn't do anything for me. After I got 3 bases able to be placed and then 15 pounds, which you get pretty early, every upgrade felt useless. Like, it was just upgrading as a tutorial or something. But it's like it didn't do anything for me. And I know you can upgrade the maximum amount of working people or pals in a base through like the settings and stuff, but I don't know why they just wouldn't implement that into it normally. I feel like they can make 20 like easily, because it's not like this game isn't in Unreal Engine 5. I don't think like it looks too like Fortnite-y for that. So I'm not entirely sure why they haven't done anything with the later upgrades with the PAL box. Cause like if it was like, oh, if every upgrade you do it expands the range of the base, that'd be cool. That's also something that is either a plus or a negative. I think it's a negative for a lot of people, and the concept of just being limited to an area. Cause like the base, you have to be very specific where you put your bases, because there's this circle that like it's like Apex or whatever, where like you can't leave the circle with stuff for your base, or else nothing will be in it. And like it's true, you could just build bases, but they limit you to 3 PAL boxes. So like I don't know why there's a limit to PAL boxes, because like you can put 32 people on a server, so it's like if there are 32 people, do you just expect them all to be in different guilds and like have that many? Is that what you're supposed to do? I think it should just be you have the option to have like, I don't know, like 20 bases or something, like as a max. Or at least give us the option to edit that. That's another thing I thought was missing, was that there was a lot of features that I feel like weren't present. Like there are some feature like options that you can change, but like there are other ones that you would think you could change and then you just can't. And then the lack of like admin stuff is kind of annoying. I was lucky that when I fell through the mesh of the hole in the floor, that there was an actual admin command to teleport me out of there. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much, I think that'll be everything. Oh, I guess another thing would be, I don't think this game currently in the patch, whatever, V 0.1.3.0, I don't think the math works out. Because you'll see here that I'm maxed on my capture power. And then there will be times where I use legendary spheres, which are like the highest tier spheres you can use, which are these. It'll say 92% capture rate or whatever, or like 94, or like anything high, like 85 plus. And then they'll break out like 6 times in a row. And I'm just like, why am I upgrading my capture rate if it's not going to actually affect what I'm doing? I also think there should be more egg variety. Because, like, along the maps, it may just be the places I'm looking, but I have this entire map undiscovered, and I didn't show you that. So, like, I have this whole thing, whatchamacallit. Every area I've checked, there were, like, the same 2 eggs. It was either scorching eggs or ice or frozen eggs. Even in areas that didn't really make sense to have these eggs, they were there. So, I'm not sure, like, I don't know if that's just, like, a bug. Because I think I found a couple, like, damp eggs and, like, frozen eggs over here on the coastline. And I'm like, this is a volcano area. I don't think frozen eggs would be near a volcano area. Like, they should be over here or, like, in other areas that are frozen. Like, the damp eggs should be, like, along water. Another thing I think they should have handled better with these 2 islands. So if you don't know what these islands are, these are sanctuaries. And then there's one down here. First of all, I think they should have had 1 in each corner. I don't know why they made a triangle with it. I think they should have 4. I think that would have been progression-wise better. Because you could just go visit the island and do, like... This one could be, like, levels 1 through 15. And then this one could be 15 to, like, 25. And then this one could be, like, 25 to 35. And then the last one could be, like, 35 to 45. And then the only 50 things you could actually catch were the legendaries. So like Frostline or Palladius or Jetragon. I think that would have been better for progression. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I know they released a roadmap and they were talking about how like future updates were going to come and stuff, so I am looking forward to that. But as the point it stands now, the only thing I have left to do are boss fights, and I'll touch on some of the boss fights in a second. This is what happens when I do unscripted videos. I just talk and then I remember stuff as I'm going on points, and then I bring them up later. The boss fights in this ramp up extremely quick. The tutorial fight is okay. The second fight, which is this chick, is fine. And then you go to, I think this is the 3rd one that you're supposed to do. This guy I can't fucking kill for the life of me, and we're not even playing on hard on this server. We're literally on normal. And I tried using basically a team of legendaries. I tried using fucking... Hold on, let me show you by level. He uses Phalaris, which is like the bird thing, this thing, and this is fire. So I tried using like a max level Jorventine. I tried using a max level Alpha Drone Aqua. I tried using some other stuff that I had, like I brought Shadow Beak just because they're good for high attack. I brought some Jetragons. I brought a few different things that were level 50. Like I took Astagon. And like I got destroyed still. Like I don't know why that thing has so much health. I think it has like 126k HP solo. I thought that was ridiculous. Like, and that was with me using my shotgun. So like I'm not sure like if that's supposed to be like that. It's either like he needs to take slightly more damage or they need to up the damage of certain pals. Because like I tried multiple times, and every time I only got him down to like a third. Not like 1/3 health, but I only got his health a third of the way down. It was a little ridiculous. And speaking of shotgun, there's this really annoying bug where if you, like I can show you, I think. Because I could explain it, or I could just... Okay, so if you shoot and then you hit reload, or... Hold on. I need to take one out. So right now I have 7 shots, right? I hit reload. Because I don't have the full amount, I just get stuck in this infinite reload glitch. Yes, you can argue with the early access, but how the fuck did this slip through? I'm sorry. Like, how was this something that slipped through? And it doesn't even break when you roll. Like, why is that a thing? But yeah, those are my just off the dome, off the top thoughts and impressions of... I think I have like 75 hours in this game so far. But yeah, I can't wait for the updates, the new creatures. Hopefully we get like different regions, or like they add stuff like kind of like how Ark does it, where they add different maps and you go to different maps and catch a bunch of different things there. If that's the direction they're taking, I'm on board. Because ASA has let me down way too many times. They've delayed so much shit for no reason. I just want to play the new maps, and they've been delayed like 14 times. But yeah, so I didn't think this video was be 27 minutes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The game is solid. If you aren't too bothered by bugs or just things that like you think you should be able to do and then you can't in like a game like this, I'd say wait a little bit till they get more stuff out, like quality of life stuff. But if you don't mind any of that stuff, this game is fine. There's still a lot to do. So yeah, take care.